Alright, chat, it's time for the troll panic. Maybe I'll start my own mortal panic. It will be called the troll panic. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm going on Twitter and everyone is screaming at everybody. Everyone is raging. And then I go, in order to gather material for the video on my main channel. And it's about the app from China, Red Note. And this is the type of content that the Chinese people are putting out. Okay? Look at this. I just want to show you the night and day difference. This is CCP level propaganda. Look at it.
I'm a new soul. I came to
this. No music. No music. We can't have music. Copyright. Copyright is bad. And you know, like, I'm watching this, and I'm definitely not telling people to go and sign up on Red Note. In fact, like, seriously, don't. But what I'm trying to say is, like, why can't we have this here? Like, why can't we have the wholesomeness on our social media? Why is it that the fucking commies have social media that is far more wholesome than the ones we get? Like, the thing is, I'm not saying that people shouldn't have disagreements. I'm not saying that people shouldn't, have important conversation. But, like, why is everyone raging over the most trivial stuff? Like, the smallest level of difference is capable of causing people to be at each other's throats and start flame wars. And you can tell, like, people aren't actually interested in persuading anyone. It's more like everyone joins a club. Like, everyone is part of a group. And then it's like the gladiator, It's like they get into a conversation with someone else and they give them the zinger. And then it's like, are you not entertained? Did I not own this person? Are you not entertained? And that's fun. But like when you go to other social medias, and it's not just the Chinese one, but if you go to Romanian social media, if you go to Japanese social media, if you go to any other country's social media, you notice that people are a lot more relaxed and chilled, for fuck's sakes. But it's just an observation, It is what it is. I can't change the culture. I can only play the meta, and we're going to play the meta today. Should you get a selfie stick? You know what? Initially, I was against the selfie stick. I was thinking that the selfie stick is cancer. But then they have these new selfie sticks that actually stabilize the camera so that when you look at the video again, you don't feel like throwing up. The original selfie sticks didn't have this feature, so it was like, yeah, it's just like a posh thing. But now if you record while walking, if you have like a modern selfie stick, it actually stabilizes your camera. And so it keeps it straight, and it's really good. So I can't judge it anymore. I changed my mind about the selfie stick, yes. PR that's actually supposed to sell burgers. There's another video that, hold on. Like, just so you can see the type of people that are there. And then compare it with the type of people that we have here. Let me see if I can find Officer Wu. I think it was a policeman from China. Officer Wu. What is Officer Wu? Let me find. I found Officer Wu. Officer Wu. Okay, hold on. There we go. Chinese polling. Shangzhou. Officer Wu welcomes Americans to the internet. Listen here, you bigot.
最近有外国朋友啊
Recently, some foreigner received such a contract on Red Note.
收到这样一份合同，他们在网上咨询
and asked for help online. And Officer Wu from the Chinese Communist Party ushered in to help the misguided foreigner.
求助，我来解释一下。这种情况要具体问题具。
He's not going to fact check the document. Like this actually baffled my brain. Okay, he is not going to fact check the document. He's going to teach you how to become a fact checker. Holy fucking shit, can this be done? Can we teach the average citizen to become a fact checker? Can we empower the citizen to think for themselves? I don't think it's possible. I've never seen this done on Facebook. I've never seen this done on Twitter. But, like, the Chinese Communist police officer is going to teach you how to fact check. This is a psyop. I don't believe it's real.
具体分析，但我要提醒这位外国朋友，网络上很多
He is saying many things on the internet are untrue.
东西啊都是不真实的，不要轻易相信。
And you shouldn't believe them easily.
还有一种骗局，就是骗
There's a type of fraud where scammers use AI to generate a picture.
子用 AI 生
And he is showing you, like, look, when analyzing a picture to see if it's AI or not, instead of looking at what's in front of you, look at the background. Because most people, they're going to be interested in the image in front. But if you look at the background, if you look at other things, you may notice the discrepancies that the AI fails to take into account. Like, for example, this picture of a tree, the tree has 2 roots, and it doesn't make sense.
生成一张图片，利用图片来实施诈骗，眼见不一定为实。
Right? Like, there are bad people on the internet. It's not up for the corporations and the police, they're trying their best. But it's also up to you to stay vigilant, because at the end of the day, it's your fucking money. Well, see, again, I'm not showing these pictures, these videos, to tell people to go on Red Note. I'm showing them to wonder, why the fuck can't we have this here? Where are the American police officers on Twitter conducting, like, the same public awareness explanations, right? If misinformation from Russia is so dangerous, where are the EU generals, the NATO generals appearing on Twitter making public service announcements, explaining to people how to differentiate between real shit and propaganda? Where are our people? The fucking Chinese communists are doing it. Are we incapable? Can we not replicate the good stuff? Is there like some things that are like, okay, that if that is good and it works there, why can't we have it over here? Like, it's not Chinese by nature. It's not communist by nature. It's a good tactic. And you also foster trust and respect between the authorities and the public.
所以我们要擦亮双眼。现在的诈骗手
Nowadays, there are various methods of fraud with all kinds of
段
tricks.
层出不穷，花样繁多。预防诈骗，
Here are some tips to prevent fraud. Always keep in mind the 3 don'ts and 1 double.
要牢记3不1多。陌生电话
Don't believe strange phone calls. Oh my god, this is so true. Like, see, the Eastern European mindset has helped me so much to the point where I'm almost immune to a scam. And like, if you're in a low trust society and you apply what I say, you're going to be immune to like 80% of the scams. Like, no one is fully immune, right? Like, at some point, someone can get you. But if you do what I say, you're going to be able to bypass at least 80% of them. If someone else contacts you, you should be 100% suspicious and treated like a scam. Like, unless you contact someone, if someone else that you don't know contacts you, you should already be very, very careful. And this applies on the street, right? Like, a stranger approaches you, it doesn't matter why he approaches you. He's a stranger. Why the fuck is he coming up to you? Asking for that doesn't matter, right? If a phone number that you don't have calls you, if you get a message like a package or some shit, doesn't fucking matter. Like if I get a message that a package is being delivered, what I do is I don't click on the message. I actually click on the website that I know I signed up to get a package from. And if I didn't sign up to get a package, then it's not my fucking package and I don't fucking care either way. And so, like, this mindset actually helps you bypass a lot of scams.
话不轻信，未知链接不点击。
See, the clicking on unknown links, you gotta be very careful, because a lot of the hackers, they manage to hack like an account that you may be friends with, and they may even hack like the account of your family and shit. And so, like, your own mother or father or someone that's close to you may give you a link. Usually, if like you're not during a conversation with a person, so like you're not talking with a person, you just get a link and it's from a website that you don't recognize, you should ask the person if they genuinely send it. Like, you should see, you know, like, what is this? A lot of scams, especially on Discord, are done like this, right? Like, someone gets their account compromised and then sends a link to all of the people in their friends list. It can also happen on Twitter. And so, like, you need to ask the person, what is this link? I don't recognize it. If it's not from a website that's common, right? Like, it's not a YouTube link, It's not a Google search link. It's just like some random shit. You should be wary.
个人信息
Don't disclose personal information. You know, like, this used to be so common sense back in the day. That, like back in my day, the internet was a dangerous place. And you had, like, TV shows and movies and all this shit, like, telling you how dangerous the internet is. And it was your duty to safeguard yourself. And one of the things that you had to do was to never share your picture, never share your personal information, do not show your house or anything like that. Nowadays, everyone does it. And it's like, why though?
不透露转账汇款多核实。I'm an office woo. Follow me and make a place friend. Feel free to consult if you have any questions.
I mean, we have this in Romania as well. We got like some police officers that are talking about traffic, and they're saying, you know, like they're showing like various footage, and it's like which one of the drivers is in the wrong, which one of the drivers is in the right. They're trying to educate the public. I don't really see this in the United States. Usually in the United States, I see like some police officers, but all they're doing is like they're issuing condemnation. Like they will watch a car crash video and then comment based on it and say like, "Oh my God, look how reckless the person is. Oh my goodness," right? Why would you want everyone to know everything about you? I don't know. Like many people that just share information. And you gotta know, like, the scammer usually operates in a way that feels natural for you to disclose the information, because, like, what scammers do is they have a script. And they, like, focus on that script to make sure that it works, and it was probably tested on 1,000 people before they came up to you. And so, like, you need to be very careful when sharing anything, right? Your username, your email. Like, here's the #1 golden rule, right? When you receive an email from something you subscribed, like let's say you're receiving an email from either an app that you subscribe, like it's a Gmail account or it's a Discord account or some shit like that, they will always use your name, right? Like the email would be like, "Hi V, blah 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 blah." If they say "Hi user" or "hi guest" or anything like that, it's a scam. Like the companies, they know the username you signed up with. They will never ask for your username. They already know it. They will never ask for your email. They already know it. When asking to verify your email, right? Like there are certain websites that are like, "Please verify your email." They will ask for like the last 3 letters or the first 2 letters. They will never ask for your email to be written in the entire thing. Make the internet dangerous again. Well, that's the thing, right? And this is what pisses me off. I watch some of the new YouTube channels that are sparking up. There used to be like this American show, How to Catch a Predator. And that was very popular until they managed to catch like some guy from Texas. I think he was like a politician or a district attorney, like someone influential. And they shot themselves before getting caught. And that terminated the show. And I think the guest of the show is still on YouTube, like he's still making videos. But this sparked like an entire series now on YouTubers with people trying to replicate that show. And what really scared me, because again, now I'm the father of a kid and I'm actually worried about this. Like one of the questions is like, when is my kid going to have access to the internet? Like when should I give him a computer, a smartphone? Like these are questions that I have to deal with. Society doesn't seem to have an answer for it. It's like, what happens when my kid goes to school? I mean, if I don't give him a smartphone and he sees other kids having smartphones, isn't he going to resent me? You know, like these are like legit questions that I'm going to have to figure out. But one of the things that scares me is the internet, right? And so I'm looking at these channels that are catching predators, which is literally, you know, people trying to groom young, well, usually like either young adults or actual kids in order to meet with them. And so there was this guy from Romania, and he's catching like 2 or 3 different individuals per fucking week. And it's like, how many of them are there? And I was wondering, it's like, is he using like a special app or something? Like, is it? No! He's using like the social media apps that everyone else uses. And so it's like, okay, if you're catching 2 or 3 a week in one city, like, holy fucking shit, right? It's like the internet is an extremely dangerous place. But people don't know that. It's because all these social media companies have such good PR that they always say, oh, we have trusted safety council, we keep people safe. No, you don't, right? So, like, if you have a kid and you let them use the internet, you must make sure that it's supervised until your kid is at least 18. Like, you need to be sure that you're supervising as a parent constantly who they talk to, who they interact with. And it's not just that. Like, there's other dangers, too. I remember a story that I covered on my main channel. And after this, I'll go to Melody Mac. We'll do the Mac attack after this. But, like, there was this story that I covered on my main channel. And it was about a very wealthy father that did everything right for his daughter. Like, he managed to get her through university. He got her an apartment. He was getting her a car. Got her a job at his company. Like, from the perspective of a parent, he did everything perfect. Like, that woman would want for nothing. Like, the only thing that she needed was to find a husband and start her own family. Right? Like her goal in life, her journey in life began in a way that so many people would crave. Like, there's people in other nations that would beg to have the same opportunities that this woman was given to her. And so what she did is that she joined a communist group on her campus. Like, she was now part of Antifa. And she was like, this was like during the peak feminism. Like, that was the flavor of leftism at the time. You know, like, all men are rapists ideology, the cisgender heteronormative patriarchy, America is evil, that type of shit. And so what she does is she burns an American flag on her social media. And her father is horrified by this, but her father believes in free speech. And he's like, you know, that's fine. I mean, like, if you want to do that, I'm not going to stop you. But, like, at least I want to understand why you did it. Because her father was a veteran. Like, he actually fought in Iraq for the nation. And he saw some of his brothers die in battle. And so, like, this is the mindset that we're talking about. And he just wanted to know, like, why are you burning the flag of the nation that I fought so hard for? Especially when you have, like, literally everything. Like, you're not impoverished. You're not wanting for anything, right? Like, you got so lucky to be born here, and you're born in our family, and I managed to take care of you. Why are you burning the U.S. flag? And so the lady decides to block her dad, right? Like, she's like, no platform for bigots, no platform for fascists, and decides to block him. And the father gets upset about it, and he's like, you know what? Like, that's fine, you can block me, but I'm taking away the car, I'm taking away your house, I'm taking away everything that I have, because, like, obviously you don't need me, right? Like, if you don't want no platform for fascists, why would you want a fascist car? Why would you want to work for a fascist? Right? And I'm thinking, like, this family was absolutely destroyed because this lady was radicalized on social media. Like, she was literally brainwashed on the internet. So the idea that the internet is safe is absolutely not true. The internet is just as dangerous as it used to be back then, probably more so because there's more people using it now. And you as a parent, you got to be very careful with not just what websites your kids go, but also the type of entourage and the type of people that they surround themselves with. If only she said to him, because I have the freedom to do it. I mean, I guess that's kind of a cope, right? Like, usually when someone burns a flag, they don't do it because they have the freedom to do it. They do it because they're displeased with the nation. And the father didn't understand. It's like, what reason do you have to be displeased with the nation when you're born in a wealthy family? Unlike many other people, you have a job, you've been to a university, you're getting a car. Like, why are you displeased with the nation that provided you so much? American Outlier, hi V, hope all is well. I remember in elementary school, we went through these similar safety programs with police and firefighters. Yeah, and the thing is, like, I understand they don't do that anymore. Like, they focus more on the LGBTs. Is that true? Like, that's the more important morals that you gotta learn now. But it's kind of wholesome in a way. People are telling me not to overlap my stream with Jim. When is Jim streaming? 8 p.m. Eastern? Don't worry about it. I won't steal subs from Jim. I won't stream over him. Let's talk about the Mac attack. Right. So Melody Mac is trending on Xita right now. And I'll go through her video. I'll try to be nice. I'll try to be nice because I genuinely don't know if she is mean-spirited or not. But the thing is, like, she does come as a subversive element. And the reason I'm saying this is that when you look at what's happening on YouTube, right? You have all these political commentary channels. Like, all of these... I can't really say right-wing channels, but, like, yeah, most of them were right-wing. And everyone is pushing against woke ideology. We have a unified front. Everyone is getting along. You know, there's some drama in the comics gate, but, like, nothing that would separate the community. Nothing very divisive. And you have, like, this girl that was a social justice activist yesterday coming from IGN. And when I say yesterday, I mean metaphorically, right? Because, like, that's what she was. Like, she was a social justice activist. She worked for IGN. And she comes into the commentary community, repeating the talking points. And everyone is embracing her. Like, everyone is nice to her. Everyone is, you know, welcoming. And she manages to get into the circle of some influential commentators. And then all of a sudden, here comes the censorship. Oh, the moral condemnation. The male gaze. The evil male gaze. The heteronormative shit. And she causes infighting and bickering and division. And I'm thinking, like, dude, if I was from IGN and I wanted to subvert the YouTube commentators, this is 100% how I would do it. 100%. Yeah, 100%. I don't know if... Well, actually, here's my take. Like, these are the two possibilities. I don't think that she's doing it on purpose. But there are two possibilities here. Number one, there are bots that literally amplify every dumb take that she has. Like, she's getting into certain levels of mysticism that even my Orthodox grandma who's a Christian doesn't go into. Like, I saw posts of her saying that if you masturbate, you're feeding a gay demon or something like that. Like, this is a level of mysticism of medieval proportions. Like, when you start talking about demons as if they're real and stuff, like, yeah, like... Again, I come from a very Christian nation. And even, like, the most hardcore Christians, they don't talk about demons as if they're real. It's more like a metaphysical type of thing. But, like, fine, you know, that's not it. But, like, those posts, they get so much traction. I don't know, like, if it's botting, like, if someone is genuinely trying to bot her dumb takes in order to make them trending. But it's also possible that is the algorithm, because you may have people who usually disagree retweeting those tweets. And so the algorithm thinks that, oh, this is what people want to see. Because you have, like, the people that don't like Christians. And when they see them tweeting this level of superstition and mysticism that goes way beyond what is normally accepted even by other Christians, they're like, oh, like is this the type of people that you want? And when I say these types of people, let me show you what I mean, right? Like, just so we're on the same page. This was happening a couple of years ago, right? It's like, it was during my lifetime, is what I want to say. Why is it... Hold on.
Because it's important for the church to deal with issues as they come to the forefront in society. I said, son, what is that, one morning? He said, that's Pokemon. Son, I found out that Pokemon means pocket monster. Pokemon, plural, are incredible creatures that share the world with humans. Each has his own fighting abilities. Some grow and evolve into even more powerful creatures. The children are developing relationships with all these Pokemon creatures, little reclusive, power-filled monsters. But why should they carry these monsters in their pocket. They say the Pokemon whole effort...
This right here, this is the image that haunts my generation. This is the equivalent of the blue-haired HR lady of my time. I saw one individuals tried to gaslight that the satanic panic isn't real, and I think like it works for the Zoomers. But for those of us that lived through it, this is still trauma. A lot of people became atheists because of this. I'm telling you this as a militant. Well, you used to be a militant atheist. I used to be. Anyone that played Dungeons and Dragons was pushed away from religion by people like this. Because it was like, if these are God's chosen, if this is the type of person you become, if you follow religion, I want nothing with it. I don't want these people as my friends. I don't want these people in my life. I want to be as far away as humanly possible from these people. These people are mentally ill. They think that Pokemon is real. They think that magic is real. They think that if I play Pokemon, I'm playing with demons. They can think that. They can do that, but away from me. I'm going to leave. I am going to do the exodus. And this is what happened with my generation. And a lot of people now, they're trying to dismiss that this happened. But the same way that so many people are leaving the woke because of the pronoun bullshit. It's like, oh, you don't follow the pronoun. Oh, you're going to get fired. Or, oh, you don't believe that men can become women. Oh, you get... Literally the same vibe. Literally the same energy, but with other things. And so, like, these people were responsible for the creation of the woke, 100%. Without these people, you wouldn't have had the woke backlash. A lot of people became woke because they wanted to spy these people. The same thing that's happening with TikTok ban, right? Like, they ban the app, and then they go on a Chinese app to spite the person that did the ban. Why? Because these people are authoritarian. They don't try to have a normal conversation, and they're not open-minded. Like, there is nothing that you can say to this lady to convince her that Pokemon is a show, and it doesn't have magical powers. You can't convince her that Pokemon is the exact same thing like Baywatch or Tom and Jerry. You can't do that. And so she's a very difficult person. And she will do anything in her power if she's related to you. If she's your aunt, if she's your mother, if she's your teacher, she will do anything in her power to take Pokemon away from you. And from your perspective, you see a mentally unwell person who believes in magic and mysticism and superstition, dedicating her life in order to take something away from you. And this causes spite and resentment because at the end of the day, you don't agree with her. You never agree that Pokemon is bad. She hasn't convinced you of that. No one has. But you're having these people that are unreasonable, taking something away from you that you like, and now that your time is free, and you can dedicate time for other things, you will dedicate your time to make absolutely sure that you return the favor. That you yourself will take something away from these people, just like they took from you. And this is called human nature. And this is what a lot of people try to reject, and they don't try to understand. It's like, why did the TikTok user give their data to the CCP? How does this make sense? They're idiots. They are doing it because you free their time to spite you. You took something from them, they will try to take something from you. It's human nature. And so, this is what happened with the woke. This is why the woke lost. Right? Like, they got in power, and they could have been in power to this day. But they had the behavior of the authoritarian bully that's unreasonable. Right? Like, if they believe that men can become women, there is nothing you can tell them to change their mind. If they are so convinced that men can become women, and that people who don't believe this have to be purged from society, they're going to be a very difficult individual. The reason pilgrims came to America is because they got kicked out of England. One of the reasons, yes. Like, you guys also had transportation. Transportation was the idea of you commit a crime, and instead of putting you in an English jail, they'll just send you as an indentured servant in the United States. Right, so let's keep listening to this.
is to train children how to become the #1 Pokemon master in the world. You follow it through the New Age teaching, you find out that masters are those who take control of spirits in the dark realm, and they tell those spirits what to do. The child at some point becomes capable of taking these powers and channeling them through their mind, through their arms, or through their power sources.
It's difficult to understand, but these people believe this. This isn't metaphorical. Like, they genuinely believed that if their children watch Pokemon, they will become satanic. We'll go into this in a little bit.
Their power sources, of course, are many of the symbols that they pick up from the Pokemon paraphernalia. So Pokemon is a game that teaches children how to enter into the world of witchcraft, how to cast spells, how
Look
to
at
use
it. Look, like she's hypnotized. Right? Look at the level of concern on her face. She's worried about her child. Like, this man is causing this woman to be worried about her children because they're watching a cartoon. Look at this guy. He's also hypnotized. Like for them, this is not superstition or anything. Like, this is pure wisdom that's being shared. This is like some hidden knowledge that they're partaking into.
Phenomena, how to put to work supernatural powers against their enemies, how to fantasy role play. Pokemon world is a world of the demonic, of the satanic. But while you might not take it quite seriously, I assure you that demons take it quite seriously. Satan takes it quite seriously. Your children need to know there's a devil, and he hates them, and he wants to ruin their life. There was even a couple of reports where children had been stabbed by other children over Pokemon cards. Do you remember the Dungeons and Dragons game of the 80s where children, young people even ended up killing themselves because it was a role-playing game? Our kids are going out in gangs on the streets, and they're so used to killing each.
So what was happening at the time is that parents noticed that some of their kids were geeks, right? So, like, the American dream of most parents was that your kid is going to go to a high school, he's going to integrate in the community, he's going to make lots of friends, he's going to get really good grades, and then he's going to join the football team. You know, maybe he won't be prom king, but like he's going to definitely get a significant other in high school. Hopefully he will marry her. And then he's going to get a stable job. And he's going to be like this extremely extroverted person, very social, a pillar of the community, if you will, right? And they saw that that wasn't the case. Like, their kids, instead, what they did was they would play Dungeons and Dragons all day. Or they would watch... Well, they couldn't watch Pokemon all day, but like they would definitely, you know, like collect a lot of Pokemon paraphernalia. They would listen to rock and roll music. They would stay in their room basically alone, locked up, right? Does that sound familiar? Like, did you guys experience that? And so the adults, instead of like blaming on other things that were happening, like maybe there was domestic violence in their household, or maybe their kid was getting bullied at school, or maybe their kid was just introverted. But instead of blaming it on these other factors that were the root cause of the problem, they would blame it on the symptom. And the symptom was that the kid was staying in his room, isolated, and he was playing Dungeons and Dragons. And so they blamed the game. And clearly the game is satanic. Clearly the game is the problem. Like, the game is what hypnotizes my kid. Like, without the game, my kid would become the star of the football team. He would probably end up getting only good A's, and he would do his homework. But this goddamn game. And then you have, like, the Christians telling them, well, the game is satanic. And this would, like, freak out the parents. Now, the thing is, a lot of people are saying, well, these religious conservatives, they didn't have the power back in the day. Like, what power did they have, right? Because they're trying to compare it with the power that social justice activists have today. And the reality is, like, they had different levels of power because we didn't have social media back in the day. And so they couldn't cancel people online. They would do these things called concerned citizen letter, though. So, like, the concerned citizen letter was from, like, various NGOs and activist groups, and they would send, like, a lot of letters to TV stations and to other places in order to censor, to fire people. Like, that did happen. But it wasn't at such a scale to the point where we have cancel culture today. No, what they would do is that they would influence, like these type of televangelists. They would influence your mother, your grandma, your uncle, and make life in your house miserable. Like, absolutely miserable. And the thing is, like, it wasn't just Pokemon, right? Because you can say, well, okay, you know, like Pokemon, maybe it was satanic because it was Japanese and people shouldn't watch anime anyway, right? I see some people in the chat talking about this. It's like, well, yeah, but like Pokemon, you know, you shouldn't watch it. So it's okay if we gaslight people and make them think it's satanic. Like, maybe it actually is evil. But the reality is, like, when you're a kid, if you think about it, almost everything that's fun is either immoral, unhealthy, or illegal, right? Like speeding in a car and drifting is incredibly fun, but it's illegal and unhealthy, right? Like most of the stuff that you do as a teenager falls under these three categories, like either immoral, unhealthy, or illegal. And so these people have no filter, right? And if you're like trying to ban everything fun, you're telling your kid, okay, any type of subculture that you join is evil. You can't join anything that has to do with rock and roll, right? So no black metal, no death metal, no goth, nothing. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to play Dungeons and Dragons. You're not allowed to watch cartoons. You're not allowed to watch slasher movies. You're not allowed to watch Harry Potter. You're not allowed to play video games. You're not allowed to watch... Like everything was like some level of immorality, and you weren't allowed. And so by this logic, the lifestyle of a human being should be a maximum security prison, because a maximum security prison is healthy, legal, and moral. Like, if you're sitting in a room, locked up, and you have, like, no ability to sin, you have, like, no ability to watch any of these shows, you have no ability to play Dungeons and Dragons, you have no... By this logic, you will go to heaven. Like, if you spend your life in a maximum security prison, by this logic, you will go to heaven. It's not unhealthy, right? Like, you can't commit sins, you're by yourself, you're sitting there, right? Like, but the reality is no one wants that. People want to have fun. And the conversation shouldn't be, oh, are we going to ban everything that's immoral? The conversation should be, some things that are immoral or unhealthy we should allow. Like, for instance, smoking. Smoking is unhealthy, but it's fun. We should allow it, but with some caveats. Like, if you want to smoke, go to a smoking designated place. Do not smoke next to other people who are unsmokers, right? Like, no one has to smell your smoke. Go to a place that's designated for smokers. Drinking. Yes, you're allowed to drink. It's unhealthy. It can even lead to bar fights. It can even lead to domestic abuse, right? Because you're an alcoholic. But you're allowed to drink. Just don't drink and drive. Right? Like, if you want to drive, don't drink. Like you can find the middle ground. You can find some reasonable takes. And at the end of the day, you know what Orthodox teaches? Like, Orthodox Christianity. It teaches that a virtue that is forced upon a person is not a virtue. Like, crafting a society that everyone is managed and everything is managerial, and everyone has to sit in a queue and they have to do the exact thing and behave in the exact way and think the exact same thing because they're compelled. They're not doing it because they're thinking it's for their own good. They're not convinced of it, but like they're forced. That's not virtue. Virtue is when you choose, like when you, without being compelled, right? You make the choice in being virtuous rather than being sinful. That's virtue. If someone is forced to be virtuous, that's not virtue. That's a person being forced. And force can be done through soft power or hard power. Now, some things, of course, you know, like some things that influence other Christians. Being naked in public, being vulgar in public, sure. You know, like there should be rules against that. But if you're being vulgar in your own house, that's your choice. Like, if a person chooses to sin, then it's between them and God, and for them to find reconciliation. Because that is virtuous. Like, a sinner turning away from sin by themselves and realizing, okay, what I did is wrong, and then going and confessing their sins and then living a Christian life. That is what true virtue is. He's not doing it because other people are constraining him. He's not doing it because he like is the only option that he has. No, he's doing it because he himself believes. Fucking hell, why is this so fucking hard? Anyway, right, the thing is though, like most of these things are so fucking petty as well. A child's cartoon Pokemon. Like, fuck off with that shit. Your focus should be on the gangs on the street that are selling drugs to people and they're stabbing each other. That was the main problem. And that was the thing you should have tackled. But tackling that is difficult. Tackling that gets pushback because the gangs, they have money, they're wealthy. They buy off politicians, they buy off the police, so it's difficult. Instead, what you do is you have a televangelist that makes money by appearing on the TV, right? Like, unlike a priest, he actually makes a lot of money. He's probably a millionaire. And he's gaslighting the parents that the real problem is Dungeons and Dragons. And he's getting paid for it. And it's not solving anything. Society didn't become better if people didn't play that, right? Like, think about it this way. Would America be better if American kids didn't play Dungeons and Dragons back in the 80s? What exactly would it change if back in the 80s Pokemon was banned? How much would society have differed today if Pokemon and Dungeons and Dragons didn't exist back then, if Harry Potter wasn't popular? What exactly would have changed? Reigning Terror, hello V, it's nice seeing grifting infiltrators getting called out. How dare you choke the chicken and like loot games? Now sit there while I dress immodestly with 34 chokers and lecture you. We'll talk about that. Are televangelists actually Christians? See, like, the thing with Christians is that there's a lot of denominations, and like Christians themselves would argue with each other about what real Christianity is like. It's difficult to understand, but like back in Europe, you had Christian terrorist attacks between the Catholics and the Irish. This is the reason that America came up with the separation between church and state. It wasn't because, oh, we need to have a society filled with degeneracy. No, it was like we got a lot of Europeans in America. They're of different Christian denominations. Like, you got Quakers, you got Catholics, you got Protestants. Like, they're going to be at each other's throats. And so, like, what we need to do is to create a system that doesn't replicate the shit that's happening in Europe. Because at least in Europe, you know, there's some borders and there's, like, some places that limit these communities' interactions. But, like, here in the United States, they may live on the same fucking street. And so, like, they were saying, look, in your household, you do what you want. You go to your church. You choose the church you want to go. You choose your denomination, right? Like, you want to be a Quaker, be a Quaker. You want to be a Catholic, be a Catholic. But, like, leave others alone in public. Like, in public, unless, like, someone is bothering you directly, like, you know, like someone is trying to convert you or some shit, leave them alone in the public. Handle your own family. You know, educate your kids the way you want to. Talk with your family the way you want to. Speak with your close friends the way you want to. And if you actually live a wholesome life and you project happiness and joy and you find fulfillment, other people will want to be like you. Other people will come up to you and they will be like, how are you this happy? Like, what? Like, this is happening in Britain, by the way. This is how Muslims convert British people right now. Like, I know a lot of cases from Britain. Like, I used to talk with certain peoples. In fact, I actually know a person that used to be a furry 15 years ago. And he was like this British furry. Maximum degeneracy. Like, just think about degeneracy and dial it to 11. He even got fursuits and shit. And I happened to run into him on Twitter a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like, no fucking way, is this the guy? And I find out he's a Muslim. It's like, what the fuck? Like, dude, you're not a Muslim, get the fuck out. And no, he's like telling me the hadith and shit. It's like, dude, and he's writing with squiggly letters. It's like, what the fuck? And he said, it's like, look, I was very unhappy and miserable. And some Muslims moved next to me. And they were really nice. I mean, like, the way that they would go out and they would always be happy and cheerful and shit. And one day, like, they asked me if I want to go with them. And we went out and we had a nice time out. And then I was interested about their community. Like everyone that I know in Britain, everyone else that's a furry is fucking unhappy and miserable. But like these people were really cheerful and happy. And I wanted to know more. And then I went to their mosque and it's like, oh my fucking God. But like that is a way that you don't see these Twitter evangelists behave, right? Like none of them have this wholesome life. And like this actually works for many religions. Like even me, you know, like I don't believe in God. And I don't believe it for personal reasons. I'm not going to try to persuade you because I'm not a militant atheist anymore. But I don't believe that he exists. Like there's, you know, it's kind of like trying to convince a Christian that Thor is real. Like what exactly would be required for you to believe that Thor is real, you know? That's where I'm at. But I do believe that the philosophy of religion, right, like the actual religious text, I do believe that they're written by genuine people. I do believe that they had the wisdom of the Greeks and the wisdom of many others being baked into the philosophical texts. And I do think that it has value. I do think that religion is not just about the divine, but it's also about creating community and bringing people together. And so I do think that it's important, and this is why I chose to baptize my son. Because I know other atheists, they get into a lot of arguments with their significant others, with their wives about this. You know, it's like, I actually have like a member in the family that didn't want to baptize their kid. And the wife had to baptize him in secret and shit. So like, I know about those other cases. And I don't think they're healthy families and healthy things to have, but like, the reason that I'm attracted to it is because I see that the Romanian Orthodox Christians are happy. And I want my son to be happy. And if like, you know, like if this is what's required for him to be happy, sure. But if I was to be surrounded by Protestants and evangelists that constantly condemn others and spit on others and constantly do nothing but moral judge while they live unhappy lives, why the fuck would I want to put my son into that situation? Why would I want to put him into that fucking toxic culture where all they're doing, like you see these people, you see that they're not happy. You see that they don't live the type of life that I want my son to end up as. Why would I use them as moral pillars for the education of my son? No fucking way. It's kind of like going to a dietitian who's morbidly obese. It's kind of like taking sports advice from a guy that's 250 kilograms. If you cannot use that religion to enrich your life and show to me that you're living a wholesome and prosperous life, I'm not going to listen to it. If you can project that image, Sargon of Akkad, he's got a priest on his show. I don't know the name of him, like I see him. But the man looks like he has a stable life. He looks like he's fucking happy. Like him is actually a person that would be like, you know what? If he actually casts some moral judgment on me, I may actually listen. Because it appears that he actually fucking knows what he is talking about. I'm not going to take advice about how to live my life if I see a person that's a drunk. And he's like telling me, you know, he's judging me based on other things. He's judging the way I dress, but he's like a drunk. Like, shut the fuck up. The Amish. The fucking Amish, right? There's this video I talked about previous stream. And there's this guy on YouTube. He goes around in various communities. And he actually went and talked to the Amish once. And he told the Amish, like, what's happening in California. And the Amish couldn't believe him. The Amish were like, what the fuck? It's like, you can steal $1,000 and the police won't go after you? And the Amish was like, you can't live like this. And I saw the Amish being calm and chill during the pandemic. Like everyone was edgy as fuck. Everyone was like on edge and at each other's throats. It's like, oh, you're vaccinated. Oh, you're not vaccinated. Oh, you're vaccinated. Oh, your business is open. You're killing grandma. To war. We must save Ukraine. Like, that's how people were. And this Amish guy was so chill sitting on a bench. And he's like, oh, the pandemic, yeah, I mean, it was hard on us. My Father Mikhail died or some shit. I don't know exactly what. But he was so fucking chill about it. And then they were going out and they were playing all these weird ancient games, like throwing horseshoes on a hoop and driving around with their little buggies, their little vehicles that they're allowed. And I was like, you know what? They don't have the same shit I do, but like that is such a fucking wholesome life. Like all of the negative propaganda towards the Amish that Netflix does, and I'm not going to judge them anymore. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I wouldn't hate their... I mean, I wouldn't be able to replicate their lifestyle. I don't have the strength and willpower to be able to live on a farm and stuff. But, like, if I was to choose to be isekai'd again and I was born as an Amish, you know what? It wouldn't be so fucking bad. Would it be so fucking bad? Prosperity leads to degeneracy. I think that's actually true. Because a lot of degenerate stuff costs money. So you can't do degenerate stuff if you're poor. But it's also the fact that when you're poor, and because I can tell you this since I've been poor and I've been rich, and I can make the comparison. When you're poor, your main focus is survival. And what I mean by this, your main focus is to pay the electricity bill. Your main focus is to pay the water, the heating, and to put food on the table. Like, this becomes primordial. And so all of your energy is constantly dedicated to fulfilling the basic needs. You don't have time to spend on Twitter. You don't have time to do degenerate shit. Like, your main focus is to put food on the table. And even when talking with your significant other, with your spouse, most of the conversations are like, we're all in this together. We must figure out a way to pay for the electricity bill, right? This is what happens when you're actually poor. I don't know how many Americans experience this. Like, not to be able to pay for your electricity bill. But it happens to a lot of people. And then you have, like, huge dramas. The cat gets sick. Oh my God, the cat got sick. What do? You don't have money, right? You need to take the cat to the vet. You really love the cat. But it's between the cat and the electricity bill. And so you're starting to wonder, it's like, okay, where do we borrow money from? Like, how are we getting past this, you know? When you're rich, you don't care about it. Like, if you're rich to the point where the electricity bill is just like, okay, it's annoying because I gotta go on the website and do a couple of clicks and type in my credit card information. And food, it's like, don't worry about it. You just, you order online, a couple of clicks, and the food is there. And then you look and you still have plenty of cash left. Well, now you have time for degeneracy. Now you have time to go and sit there and talk to other people. Now you have the time for all the degenerate shit. Now when you're talking with your wife, you have time to argue and bicker over trivial stuff. Because you don't have to worry, right? Like you freed up ample time. Give the cat a nice place to lay and wait for it. It's sad, but sometimes it happens. That doesn't make it any easier, like coping with that. And I just gave like an easy example with the cat, but what if you have a kid and the kid gets sick? And it's just like one of the things that can happen, like sometimes the washing machine can break. Other times the TV can break. Like there's a lot of stuff, when you're living, like when you're genuinely living paycheck to paycheck. There's a lot of shit that can go wrong. So let's talk about Melody Mac. Let's do the Mac attack, right? Now, she got upset over this. Like, this is how it all started, right? Like, this literally right here is the video that upset her, right? Like, you got this video game called The Last Descendant, and this girl dancing upset her. Now, a lot of her followers, I noticed, they call this pornography. And I'm like, in what fucking universe? Like, this would be considered normal in any single game that was made 15 years ago, before the feminists started screeching about the male gaze. Like, this was normal in World of Warcraft. You take a World of Warcraft night elf, You take away the armor, you play Sash Dance, you get to see this. This is a game rated T for teens, approved by the Communist Party of China, which do not allow pornography, and you're saying that no, even that is not enough. We need to be more strict. And so if you're going to cast moral judgment on others, people are going to be like, is this lady cleaning up her room first? Like, can I cast moral judgment on her? Like, if we're doing this, if we're playing the game, right? If she's casting moral judgment on us, can we cast moral judgment on her? Well, apparently you're not allowed. Why not? And why do I need to not play these games? Well, to make Melanie Mac happy, right? So for Melanie to be happy, I have to not play these games. And it's like, why? What exactly does Melanie Mac mean to me, personally? I don't know her, right? So you have this stranger on the internet, all of a sudden, calling me a pervert because I play these games. Like, she insulted me. So question, class, based on human nature. If you're walking on the street and someone spits on you, what's your reaction? What do normal humans do if someone insults you for no fucking reason? Like, you're minding your own business, and all of a sudden a person that you don't know, is a stranger to you, decides to insult you. What is your first reaction? Like, what is your, initial knee-jerk? Now, the thing that I noticed, and again, like, this is really interesting, is that the YouTube community was pretty much united against woke ideology, right? Like, we had our ups and downs, we had our drama with Comicsgate, and we had, like, a couple of beef between content creators, sure. Look at this, like, all of the Melody in the Pack talking points are trending now. Satanic Panic is trending, Stellar Blade is trending, Melanie Mac is a relevant person. And you have this individual that was an IGN collaborator yesterday and a feminist yesterday. And I say yesterday metaphorically, by the way. But, like, she used to be, like, an LGBT ally and a staunch advocate for all this shit. And all of a sudden, she joins our community. And everyone embraces her. I even embraced her. And she rubs shoulders with influential people in our community. She says the talking points. She supports Stellar Blade. And all of a sudden, she starts morally condemning people. She says, no, this is too much. It's like, what? She's talking about demons. And she's creating bickering in the community. Like, for the first time, you have people in the community experiencing a rift. And I'm thinking, like, wow, if I was IGN and I wanted to subvert the YouTube commentator community, this is exactly how I would have done it. Like, to a T. I read a lot of agitation and propaganda, and unironically, this is exactly how I would have done it. I would have sent a pretty lady to infiltrate their ranks, to parrot their talking points, and then say something that she knows is divisive in order to get the community in a spin. There is no way she doesn't know this is divisive. She streams with quartering. The whole shtick of quartering is the shtick that she did. Is like, women in video games aren't sexy. And Stellar Blade is good and censorship is bad. So she gets audience that are like that. And then she has the take that this is bad and perverts like this. And when she gets backlash, now she has to do the mental gymnastics and be like, well, no, actually, see, this is actually good, but it's the way you consume it, is the way you move the camera. It's like, how about you shut the fuck up? Like, why do I need another feminist to tell me how to enjoy my content? I swear to God, if it wasn't for that Star Wars girl, Kirsche, and Vara Dark, I would unironically start believing the people like Andrew Tate that say that certain spaces should be male-dominated and it's a boys-only club. Can you not mommy up the place? Is that so fucking hard to ask? Can we show the Christian mom the way to the kitchen? I mean, like seriously, like, if we're going to be tradcons now, because apparently this is what it's all about, we're supposed to be religious, why do you want a purity spiral so fucking hard? If you want a purity spiral, you're eventually going to get to these arguments. There will always be someone more Christian than you, and they will always say that, you know what, no, you're not taking it far enough. Move, then just step back, let me show you how it's done. You're complaining about pixels in video games. What about women's gender roles? Are you following them? Or are they not important? That Jesus not care about them anymore, right? Like the gender roles, no. Like first we need to deal with the video games and the pixels and the shit. And the thing is, like, again, you know, like, if you want to morally condemn people, you best make sure that your life is at least adhering to the thing, because then people will say that, okay, this is genuine, right? Unironically, if Vara Dark would start bitching about sexy video games, I would believe her. I would be like, yo, no, like, Vara Dark actually looks like a Christian. Like, look at her thumbnails, right? Look at her thumbnails. Like, Vara Dark genuinely looks like a decent, modest Christian woman. There's absolutely no criticism that I can bring to Vara Dark in the way that she presents herself. Because at the end of the day, this is what the conversation is about, right? It's about modesty. It's not about porn. Like, it's about modesty. And so, like, if we're going to go by that, if we're going to go like, okay, we bring back the Christian aesthetic, we're bringing back the Christian meta, right? Look at Vara Dark. Look at the way she's presenting herself. Like, in every thumbnail, like, she's showing the stuff that she's going to be talking about, right? She's using red in order to gather attention. And then it's just her. Like one of those Greek philosophers, right? Like, she's thinking about the thing. Thinking about the thing. She has, like, this air of mystery. Like, if you want to find out what she's thinking, you gotta click the thumbnail. Meanwhile, Melanie Mac is wearing 7 chokers. Her arms are filled with tattoos. Wearing all this makeup, red lipstick, so much black. She would scare my fucking grandmother. I'm not kidding. Like, if I was to bring home a girl that looks like Melanie Mac now, my grandmother would be scared. I'm not kidding. She would think it's satanic. Why? The aesthetic. What? Like, no Christian woman tattoos herself. Okay, you made that bad decision back in the day. Cover them up. So okay, we can talk about video game characters, right? Like, the way video game characters are dressed is up for conversation. But for some reason, the actual stuff that matters, you know, how women look in real life, if we're Christians now, like, we're Christians, right? Like, okay. I'm telling you, if Melanie Mac was to enter an Orthodox church, she would be shamed by all the babushkas from the door to the altar, and then when she goes back, another round of shaming. She would experience a level of misogyny that goes beyond her human understanding because she's an American, and she would step forth in an Orthodox church in Romania. Why is she trying to go to this road of purity spiraling about how women dress is beyond me when she lives in the most glassiest of houses? I'm not shaming her, by the way. I have nothing against the way she dresses. But she is using this ideology, like she is creating the club, the Christian club, that someone far more puritanical than her, someone far more pious than her can then use on her. Make it make sense, please. Like, in what fucking universe is a person creating the tools that can then be used for their very own oppression make sense? How is this logical? Do you think people will keep it to video games? Do you think, like, people will only be like, oh yeah, we're going to be pious, but only in video games? People don't let me shame, they don't let me, yeah, they don't let me shame degeneracy. I mean, they can, but the thing that she is upset is that people are shaming her. Like, she wants to be the shamer, but she doesn't want to be the shamee. Pokemon is the devil's Nintendo. Some Brazilian preacher. We actually played that thing. You weren't here. When I was a teenager, imagine if Pokemon anime came as unfiltered as the manga. Back then, people didn't care about sexuality that much because American sexuality was at its peak. Like, you had Baywatch, you had, like, actual real actresses, you know, doing lewd stuff on television. You had actual tits on the big screen in the United States. Like, if you watch Starship Troopers, there's an actual scene with the men and the women in a bath, and the women have naked tits. You had, like, slasher movies where every single time there was, like, a random sex scene. And so like most Christians, they were aware that sex exists and they weren't freaking out. What they were freaking out about was violence and magic, right? So anything that had to do with magic, Harry Potter, Dungeons and Dragons, Pokemon, like anything magical would freak them out. And anything that had to do with violence. The idea of violence is that kids can replicate it. Right? So like some kid can watch Dragon Ball and then he would actually go into the playground and replicate the stuff he saw in Dragon Ball and someone would get hurt. Melody Mack is a borderline. Also, she ain't a Christian. This is coming from a Catholic. Also, good antinomianism. I know that must be a Christian word, but I don't know what it means. Yeah, when Conan was pounding the witch, I actually watched Conan again on my server with some people. And there's this scene, and it makes no fucking sense at all. Like, it's not even part of the movie. The only reason the scene is there is for fan service. There's the scene where Conan is walking and he's hungry, and this lady in a tent offers him a place to stay. And during the night, she undresses and starts having sex with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, it's almost like a porn movie, but you don't get to see the penetration. Again, like, this is American movies back in the day, right? And Christians were fine with it. It's just like, mark it so that kids don't see it, right? Like, just make sure that Conan the Barbarian is marked M for adults. And unless you show the actual penetration, then it's an M movie. If you show the actual penetration, then it's an R. That was like the Christian standard back in the day. And so, yeah, I mean, like, they couldn't justify, oh, yeah, so, like, Conan shows murder and decapitation, but, like, they're not going to show sex. Like, come the fuck on. The scene has Conan having sex with the witch, and during the sex, the witch tries to steal his soul, but, like, he pushes her into the fire, and the witch just starts laughing and disappears. And it makes absolutely no sense. Like, there's nothing tied to the story. Like, we don't know why the witch did that. We don't know, like, anything about her. Like, Conan just leaves afterwards. It's just, like, something that would happen in American movies at that time. And no one fucking cared. Like, no one pearl-clutched over it. This movie, I think, was in the 80s. Like, Arnold Schwarzenegger was in his peak. Okay, so she calls it Gunnergate. Right, and I again, just so you understand where I'm coming from. Let me show you again the difference between Vara Dark. Like, without knowing anything, right? Without knowing anything, and just looking at the aesthetics, which of these ladies do you think is going to lecture you about modesty, right? This lady or this lady? Like, which one of them? Like, you don't know anything about them, right? You have no idea about who they are. You have no idea about anything else. I would tell you, like, one of these ladies is going to lecture you about modesty and is going to lecture you about the types of video games that you can enjoy. And I will show you this lady, and then I will show you this lady. Which one do you think is going to be the one that's going to cast moral judgment on you and call you a pervert if you don't play the exact games that she tells you to play and in the exact same way that she tries you to get them to play? Huh? Fuck me. This is what people are upset about, Melody. I know you're watching this. This is what people are upset about. It's not about the gooning. We don't fucking care about your opinion about gooning. We know where to goon. The internet is for gooning. It was created for gooning. The reason you even live stream is because of gooners. That's why the technology for the live stream was developed. I'm not even fucking joking. Like, the reason people made live streaming is because they wanted to perfect live streaming pornography. And when the porn actor would smack the woman's ass and you would see the palm hit, but it would like a 3-second delay, people found that unacceptable and was like, we need to push this technology until it sinks. And until the smack on her ass cheeks matches with the fucking sound effect, we haven't gone there yet. And so, like, people manage to do the live stream and the technology. The internet is for gooning. All right? Like, there is so much goon on the internet that you cannot physically stop people. There is nothing you can do. And so, when you go on your moral crusade, no one thinks you're going to take their porn away. That's not the problem. The problem is that people don't like being judged by other people that do not live to the same standard that they're judging. It's kind of like getting judged by a drunk about the fact that I'm drinking a glass of beer. Do you see the problem with that? It's kind of like being judged by a morbidly obese person that I'm eating a cupcake, right? Like, this is the issue that people are having with this. And it's also the fucking trauma. It's also the same talking points, literally regurgitated. If Anita Sarkeesian would have talked about the male gaze while clenching a Bible, that would literally be you. This is why people are upset. You're causing them trauma. You know, you're a stranger to them. They don't look up to you. They don't know who you are. You recently entered this space, repeating the talking points, and now you're causing controversy for no fucking reason whatsoever by repeating the exact same talking points that got us started on this path. This is why people are shaming you. It's not because, like, oh, you're talking about pornography. There are other people that talk against pornography, by the way. There are so many channels that talk against OnlyFans and they're preaching the Bible and they're talking about against Pornhub. No one is shaming them. I wouldn't fucking shame them. Because they're actually dealing with important stuff. They're not talking about video games. I got a little bit agitated, chat. I got a little bit hot under the collar. I apologize. I got a little bit hot under the I was trying to keep it cool. But like it got a little bit apathy here. I'm sorry. The Dashing Rogue, $5. Thank you. The internet is for porn according to Avenue Q. Also, Melody, I don't believe you were stalked. I think you were just told no and call out your bullshit. I'm not going to go to her past. Like, that is easy, right? Like, to go and discredit someone based on their past and shit. Like, the only time I will if it's relevant. Like, the fact that she was a social justice activist a couple of years ago, I think it's relevant. You can't just join the club and then try to take the reins. You need to lurk more. That's the thing, like, okay, imagine this, right? Like, let me put it in a different light. Do you guys remember when the Democrats were in charge and the bread tubers were dominating YouTube? Like, you would go on Twitch, bread tubers everywhere. You'd go on YouTube, bread tubers everywhere. And they were all friends with each other and they were all promoting each other, right? Now imagine that all of a sudden, overnight, I would have a change of heart. And I would be like, you know what? I don't want to be a Nazi anymore. Like, they're calling me fascist, they're calling me Nazi, they're calling me Messiah. Maybe they have a point. I will go on Vosh's channel and I will have a heart-to-heart and I'll be like, Vosh, you know what? From this day forward, I'm an anti-racist. And I have a change of heart, Vosh. And there were many people that did this, by the way. Like, there were many content creators that would go on Vosh's channel to repent. Or Destiny's channel to repent. And they would be like, oh, I was such a bigoted person back then. I was so horrible. I made so many racist jokes. I'm so sorry. Like, I hurt so many people. And imagine I did that. And then I warmed myself up to these content creators. I would go on their streams. I would collab with them. And all of a sudden, I would start saying some shit. I would start being a controversial person. I would start creating division with BreadTube. I would start getting the community to fight with each other, and I would be at the center of it. What would people say about my behavior? Like, how would it look when you zoom out and you look at the timeline with my past being an anti-social justice activist influence? Would it be relevant? Right? Like at some point, wouldn't Vosh be able to say that V is a subversive little shit? I mean, he literally had a channel where he was an anti-social justice activist a couple of years ago. And now he's here causing all this drama and all this fuss and dividing our community. Bringing up nonsense and talking points that no one fucking cares about. Yeah, imagine if I did that and started bringing Israel and Palestine. Right? Like, you have like the bread tubers, and they're all united, they're all on the same Trump, they're on the fuck Donald Trump train. And I start bringing Israel and Palestine, and I cause like a massive divide in their community. And you have like people supporting Israel, people supporting Palestine, and people getting angry over it on Twitter. And I was the center of it. Like, I literally brought that divide. I'm the one that and has very strong opinions on the issue. How would it look? Would it be relevant for people to go back and say, like, hold on a little bit? Like, did you not notice that V, a couple of years ago, like, he was a social justice activist, an anti-social justice activist, like, he was a skeptic? And he joined our community and we were nice to him and now he's causing division? Yeah, hello, my fellow communists. Let's talk about capitalism in China. V is the same push for censorship as the left. Just replace the endless totem pole of identity politics with using the Bible. Well, yeah, but like, they will say porn isn't free speech, right? So like that's statement number one. And statement number two is that this is pornography. And I'm like, I'm sorry, this is not pornography, number one. But basically they're saying it is so that they can censor it. And then they get upset when you say that they want to censor stuff. It's like, no, people are just putting one and one together. Like, you never said you want to censor this, but you didn't say you want to censor porn, and you didn't say that this is porn. So, like, 1 + 1 = 2, love. Like, I'm sorry to point this out, but, like, it is what it's going. And even if you're not going to make that call, the purity spiraling that you're starting is eventually going to reach to this level. And so, you join the community that's anti-censorship. Like, literally, the main problem that people had with social justice was the fact that they're censoring entertainment. That's pretty much what Quartering's channel was all about. Why he's got 1 billion subs. So you're joining a community where people are really pissed off about censorship in video games, and then you rationalize censorship in video games in a different way. You prove Don Sargone was right, the horseshoe theory was real all along. Again, literally the same things that she's complaining about is the male gaze. The only difference is that Anita Sarkeesian was saying that the male gaze is harmful to women and it's sexism. And she is saying that the male gaze is sinful. But either way, she and Anita agrees that the male gaze has to go. And it's like, well, like, let me show you something else, right? Like, let me show you why it's also not working, what she is doing. Let me see if I can find the tweet. But that is a powerful and very interesting tweet from a transgender person, right? So, like, here you have, like just so I can show to Melody back if she's still watching. You know, I got a little hot under the collar. I'm not doing this in order to humiliate you. I'm doing this in order to try and educate you. And I'm not trying to sound condescending. I mean, you're trying to educate us, right? So, like, there should be a dialogue. Like, you're not a priest yet. Like, maybe you want to be. I don't know. But, like, there should be a level of communication going around here. Now here you have people complaining about the fact that the characters in video games are unaesthetically pleasing, right? And here you have a trans person saying, if I cannot goon to my non-porn game, then I will literally fucking die. You're using the exact same shaming tactics. Do you hire the same ghostwriter for this person? How is it possible that you're using the exact same concept? Now, of course, when people show this to you, you have to walk it back and you gotta say, well, no, actually, there's a middle. Shut the fuck up, okay? If you cannot realize that a community of people that has been hardened in the last 10 years of dealing with this level of criticism, and you think that what you're doing is going to work, I don't know how to sell the definition of insanity to you. This is why people shame you. We're already used to this. We're used to this. The spirit of it, not the fucking letter, okay? Like, even if it's not exactly like this, the spirit of it is the same. It takes two sides to uphold the paradigm. Islam is for melody. I think she's the type of person that likes to shame but doesn't like getting shamed. And so it's a personal behavior, I guess. Look, her aesthetic is goth. Like, maybe she likes being a contrarian. I don't know. So now do see the point I was making when I said she was going to baptize Jeremy the first time they meet. I don't fucking believe it for a second. Look. I know it's possible, but I don't think it will happen. Hold on. Do we have any Protestants in the chat? Because I know a lot about Christian Orthodoxy. I know a lot about the dogma, and if you want, I can even bring 2 students from the University of Christianity that belongs to the Orthodox sect. In Romania, we call it Universitatea de Ortodoxism. But I can bring you 2 Orthodox students, and we can cast moral judgment on Melody Mac, an entire stream. Hell, maybe I can even stream it from a church. But I don't want to do that. I think it's cringe. And not to mention, maybe she's of a different denomination. I don't know. But I know that Protestants, right? They're incredibly sinful in their behavior by baptizing people when they're 18. Can anyone do it? Can anyone perform the ritual? Because I know with evangelicals, you can they don't believe in the concept of a priest in the same way that we do. You guys believe that once Jesus died on the cross, everyone can be a priest. So you have a pastor, right? You don't have priests, you have pastors. So does the pastor need to do the baptism, or can anyone else do it? The way it works in Orthodoxy is the same way it works in Catholicism, is that in order to become a preacher, you actually gotta go to a university where you study for 4 years. And you don't just study the Bible, you study Christian dogma, you study the writings of other priests, you study a lot of other stuff that helps you gain a better understanding in the Bible. And you study a lot of human psychology. This is why, again, see, I as an atheist go around and I'm telling people, look, if you have mental issues, unironically, mental issues in the sense, not in the sense that you're crazy, but in the sense that you have depression, you have PTSD, you have relationship issues. I don't care what it is. Don't go to a psychologist, go to a priest. I'm an atheist and I'm telling people, go to a priest. I don't care what type of priest. Preferably a Catholic or an Orthodox. Obviously, I would suggest an Orthodox because they can get married and they have a better understanding on humanity. Just because of that. You gotta experience marriage. In fact, an Orthodox priest is not allowed to get a church unless they're married. So, once you finish the Orthodox school, you gotta get a wife, and then you become an actual priest that you actually have a congregation. But anyway, right? Why am I telling people to go to a priest and not a psychologist? Well, think about what it means, right? What is a psychologist? It's a person that studied the university for 4 years, and they learned, when did psychology start? It's the First World War or something like that. When was psychology set as a field? Probably less than 200 years. Anyway, he learned from 4 years in a university about what they believe that humans should be like. And most of the shit is pseudoscience anyway, because they can't apply the scientific method. But what is now an Orthodox priest? It's someone that actually went to a university for 4 years and studied thousands of years of human history, thousands of years of human psychology. He also, when he's a priest, he listens to other people's confessions, he listens to other people's worries. His entire job is fixing families. Now, what is the business model of a psychologist, and what is the business model of a priest? The business model of a psychologist is for you to be a returning customer. They want you to keep coming back, right? They even say that they're not healing you, it's a process. So, they want you to go there, they will sit on a bed, they will listen to you, be like, and then it's time is up, and they will charge you, and they will ask you to come again the next day. In his business model, if you have your problems fixed and you stop returning, he actually loses a customer, right? Now, let's look at what a priest is. A priest doesn't get paid by you. He gets paid from the donations. And so if he fixes your problem, you're more likely to give a super chat. And the priest has the knowledge and the experience because he talks with so many people. And he also went to a university where he studied. And so, like, his incentive is to actually help you because he doesn't want you to keep returning and keep nagging him with the same shit over and over. And my advice is, if you're having, like seriously, this actually it helped me as an atheist. Like, believe it or not, the priest doesn't always talk about God. Like, he can actually talk to you about problems that you're having in a way that it makes sense and doesn't have to invoke the supernatural or the divinity. Do you know, like, the last time that I went to a priest and I told him that I am depressed, do you know what he told me? He told me that, it's like, well, what do you do for a living? And I was like, well, you know, I'm a content creator, like, I make videos on the internet, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. Like, how much exercise do you get? And I'm like, well, you know, I don't have time, but make time. Like, I want you to find a place that you like find the gym, or find the swimming pool, find something, and do some physical activity because healthy mind and healthy body is divine. Well, I don't know how he framed it, like, he used some Bible quote. But, like, basically, he told me, in order for me to be happy, to cure my depression, right? He didn't give me any drugs, didn't give me any pills. He basically just said, it's like, look, go work out. And then he picked up his phone, had a WhatsApp, had a couple of Christians that are on a WhatsApp group, and he said, you know, these are also some of the Christians that I talk with. They're members of my congregation. You know, if you don't want to, like, you shouldn't go alone to do these things. Like, here's like 2 and 3 other Christians that I have, and sorry, I'm getting a little emotional, but yeah, he basically helped me out, you know, and it was a very wholesome experience. And this is why I'm so pissed when I see individuals that are Twitter evangelists doing it in a way that's pushing people away from religion, rather than displaying the wholesomeness of religion, rather than trying to show people the Christian lifestyle. He gave me that Holy Spirit. You want the benefits of Christianity without putting in the work? I mean, I don't know. Like, he wasn't trying to convert me or anything. He just said what the solution to my problem is, and it actually worked. I made some good friends there, and we went to the gym, and we worked out. And yeah, I mean, it was benefit. I mean, I guess you can judge the priest. Yeah, maybe he wasn't Christian enough for you. I don't know what to say. But my advice for people is to don't go to psychologists. Because I went to psychologists. I went before, you know, like, again, I was going through depression because when I was at med school, I had to study a lot. Like, insane amounts of study. And I had very little time to do anything fun. I was studying, like, I would wake up at 7 a.m., I would go to the hospital, and then I would go to the classes, and by the time I got home, it was 4 p.m., and then I had to study for the next day. So I would finish at around 6 or 7 p.m., and this affected every aspect of my life, including dating. Like, I would go dating with a woman I had nothing to talk about because I wouldn't watch TV, I don't know what happens, I wouldn't even know who the Romanian Prime Minister is. And so there was, like, literally nothing to talk about because I was so focused on school. The only people that I could date was other people from the university, and I could talk about medical stuff with them. That's it. And this got me in a very serious depression. Like, it's not normal for people to live like this, you know? Like, completely isolated. Like, none of my friends wanted to go out because I would pick up my friends. All the people that I knew were from the medical university. I didn't have time to socialize. And so I would pick up the phone. And I would ask them, it's like, hey, did you want to do something? Do you want to socialize? And they would be like, no, we got exam tomorrow. We got a test tomorrow. It's like, oh, fuck. You know? And so I went to a psychologist, and they gave me pills. And they fucked me up. Like, they literally fucked me up. The first time it was nice, you know, after taking the pills, it made you feel more relaxed and more... But after a while, I got used to them. And it just got me back into depression. And when I went to the psychologist, he said, oh, we're going to up the dose. And I was like, oh, no, how about you fuck off? because I realized what was going. And so when I got off the pills, man, I felt like so fucking dizzy. I felt so fucking awful. And I'm like, why would I ever recommend people go to psychologists when they can just go to a priest? And like going to a priest actually helped me far more. And the reality is, like, I can't believe in God because I genuinely don't believe in it. Right? It's kind of like asking you to believe in Thor. I can't. But I do believe that the teachings and some of the things, the understanding about human nature in those philosophical texts is legit. Like, all those priests throughout the medieval time that stood in monasteries and wrote about humanity and how humans think and what humans are and what our purpose is, I think some of them were spot on. And that's why, I encourage people that are depressed or they're having mental issues to actually go to religious leaders, community leaders, rather than go to psychologists. I don't know, maybe I'm a hypocrite, but like, look, I can't believe. Like, that's the thing. Like, if I can't believe, I can't fucking believe. What do you want me to say? But it is what it is. Pills, you know why Dev got extremely weird recently? Because he got new pills. Unironically, he mentioned a while back. Yeah, I'm not in favor of... Like, unless you have something extreme. Like, there are people suffering from schizophrenia that hear voices, that, like that type of shit, and they can't function in society, then yeah, by all means. And get the pills from a psychiatrist, not a psychologist. But if you're like someone that's just having the gloomies, you're having a period in your life where you're down and shit. My avatar just died. The troll died. The battery for the phone died. So I'm going to have to take the troll away. Follow the basic morality, not the makeup stuff. Yeah, I mean, basically, like, look, I don't believe in demons. I don't believe in the supernatural. I don't believe in angels and stuff. But I do believe that living the life of, like, for instance, fasting, right? Like, I think fasting is important, and I actually fast, even if I'm not a Christian. Why do I fast? It's because it teaches discipline. It teaches discipline, and it's also healthy. So, like, for 3 months, I'm a vegan. That's what Orthodox teaches, right? Like, you gotta fast them. Other things that they teach you. Sunday is a day off, right? So don't work on Sunday. Spend time with the family. I don't need to believe in the divine in order to follow these rules. And I don't need to believe in the divine to understand why these rules are good. Now, the thing is, like, they're good for me. I don't know if it's good for other people. Like, I wouldn't force other people to fast because, like, maybe it would upset them, like, maybe they would, like, if I force someone to live the same life, if I were to force my kid to fast, then maybe he would get resentment towards religion and be like, why do I need to fast? This is ridiculous. I don't want to, right? So, like, what's good for me is not necessarily good for other people. And there are certain things that religion teaches that I don't believe, and it's like, at the end of the day, it's my life, and I'm going to live it how I wish. Like, I'm not trying to be a good Christian. I'm not trying to even be a Christian. I'm not trying to go to heaven. I'm just trying to find a life that makes me personally happy and the people around me happy. And so, yeah, I'm going to fucking pick and choose, but you know what? At least I'm going to be honest about the fact that I'm doing this. I'm not going to come up on a stream with 7 chokers and tell you why Stellar Blade is awesome, but The Last Descendant isn't. And then I'm going to say, no, I'm actually a good Christian. No. I'm not going to say that. Feeding the troll battery. Well, thank you, Gabriel, but it would require actual electricity. See, like, here's another interesting thing. There's some people in the chat judging me right now and saying, oh, well, then you're faking it, you're a hypocrite. Do you know what you're doing? You're not going to get people to not fake it. You're going to get people to lie to you. I mean, it would be so fucking easy, wouldn't it? I can just say, yeah, you know what? I'm a Christian, actually. And I believe in God, blah, blah, blah. And I'll have, like, all the correct talking points. And you'll be happy because you're hearing what you want. But you're not actually achieving an actual conversion. I'm just telling you what you want to hear so you can fuck off. Like, is this the type of society that you want? Where people are dishonest? and they're just saying the correct things to please you. So fucking easy to do, you know? It's like, I can LARP as a Christian more convincing than probably any other Christian on the internet. But I don't see the point in it. I find it disgusting. People lying is what pisses me off. Hypocrisy is what pisses me off. And I don't think it's hypocritical because I'm honest about it. I'm like, no, like there are certain things of this ideology that I think are good for my life. I'm not saying they're good for your life. I'm not making the argument that everyone should live this way. I'm just saying that for me personally, I think they're good. And I will do them because it's my life. And I get to choose what I do and I don't because I'm an adult. Mac doesn't seem like a hypocrite. I mean, look, man. Let me show you why people say Mac is a hypocrite, all right? She has promoted the video game Lollipop Chainsaw. A video game where you can watch under the... Like, you get an achievement if you move the camera and you watch under the skirt of an 18-year-old girl. She has promoted this game as well. Stellar Blade, right? Like, this is a game that she promotes. This game has cutscenes where the camera moves literally under the legs of the main character, right? But then... She calls people perverts for playing The Last Descendant. And when push comes to shove, when it's like, well, hold on a little bit, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, she realizes she's getting backlash, right? Because she promoted, she said that this game, right? She doesn't like this one. And she's not going to renounce the games that she likes. Like, she's not going to disavow Tomb Raider, even though Tomb Raider causes lost. She's not going to disavow the stuff that she does. She's still going to dress in a way that's not modest according to Christian standards, not my standards. Like, I think she dresses modestly, but from a Christian perspective, if she goes into an Orthodox church, she would be shamed. I guarantee to you, like, if you want, I can get some babushkas here, and we can have a live reaction. I will show, like, no, seriously, you know what? If it pisses me off, I'll actually fucking do it. I'll go to a Romanian church, I'll find, like, the random women from the Romanian church, show her pictures of Melanie Mac and see what they have to say. And you can say, well, hold on a little bit, V, like, what does Romania have to do with, like, no, because it's the only church that I can go to. But, like, if you want me, like, I can always show that this purity spirals. And there will always be, like, a Christian that's more Christian than you are, and they will actually have, like, the decency morality. And they will be like, no, this is not decent. Like, she needs to... If I show a picture of Vara Dark, those women will say, yeah, Vara Dark is decent. Like, if I go and I show to, like, churchgoers from an Orthodox church, a pious country, right? And I show her pictures of Vara Dark, they'll be like, no, she's dressed decently. So my question is, like, why is she crafting the ideology, the cudgel, that then people can use against her? Like, if you're promoting modesty, dress modestly. Like, if your concern is, like, men lusting, that's her concern, right? Like, people who are addicted to masturbation. Like, that's actually, you know what? Fine, let's talk about masturbation addiction. Because recently on the internet, it seems that the male gaze has become masturbatory addiction, right? So, like, hold on. Let me show you the meme. Like this right now on the internet, for people that don't touch grass, this is called Kumar behavior. Like, this is, his brain is rotted by pornography. His, well, what else would they say? Yeah, his Kumar brain. The reality is, this is human nature. Like, just walk on the street and notice when a pretty girl walks, other men turn their heads. This has happened before we were born. It's happening now, and it will happen after we're born. Not all men do it. You know, like some men control themselves. But just because you want to see an attractive woman doesn't mean that you're going to start, Islam thinks that this is a problem, so they decide to cover women up. Feminists think that this is a problem, so they're going to try to shame men for doing it. But it is human nature. And I don't think like this person is obsessed with pornography. What being obsessed with pornography is actually a mental illness. And it's actually incredibly detrimental. I have seen it when I was working at the hospital. I've seen it in the psychiatric ward. And it does indeed destroy lives. So what is the difference between this and a person that's a compulsion masturbatory behavior? Well, the person who's a compulsory masturbatory behavior is doing that, and it's affecting his work, it's affecting his life, it's affecting his relationship, not in the sense that it changes his behavior, in the sense that he's doing it so often, it breaks his penis. Like, he's doing it so often that he's late for work. He's doing it in places where he shouldn't. He's doing it at work. He's doing it in public, right? Like, that is a mental illness. And that is serious. It doesn't mean that, oh, well, if you're a person and you just turn your head and you look at another woman on the street, that this is pathological. That there's something wrong with your brain, that your brain is rotted. Or that if you play The Last Descendant or Stellar Blade, then you're mentally ill as a man. No, that's not what it means. What it means is when your entire life is affected by it. Like, you're so... It's kind of like drinking, right? Like, there is a difference between... Like, almost every person drinks. I don't know many people that don't drink a beer or that they don't drink a glass of wine or something, right? Any person drinks. But there is a difference between drinking and being a chronic alcoholic. There's a difference between drinking and having liver damage. And having cirrhosis. And so far, it seems that the two are mixed. It seems that, oh no, if you drink a glass of beer, then you're going to end up as an alcoholic. That's the mentality that's being pushed right now. And it's not true. And it makes you look ridiculous, right? Like, imagine you're going out and you're having a glass of wine and you have like this random girl being like, oh my God, so you're an alcoholic. So you're a wife beater. Right? What the fuck are you talking about, lady? Same with gambling, right? Like, gambling is a problem. But there's a difference between a guy who goes to Vegas and goes into a casino just to see how it's like. And, he gambles maybe $200. He loses the money, but, he had the experience. I mean, he went to Las Vegas, played in a casino. And then you have, like, someone that's an addict, and it can destroy his life. And I know many such cases. Like, in Romania, we actually had to ban these slot machines that were very predatory, and they were everywhere, and they were destroying families. Like, daddy went and played at the slot machines, and now we can't pay for electricity. Like, that was some serious shit. Like, some actual problems. And, yeah, like, they banned the slot machines. I don't know if it's actually productive. I think banning should be a last resort, but now they're probably playing poker in some tavern or something. I just, there's no nuance. It's all black and white, right? And the answer of why it's hypocritical is like, if you're against lewdness, then give up your hobbies, lady. Drop the Tomb Raider shtick. Do you think like men who are into this mindset of obsessive compulsory masturbation, addicted to porn, do you think like if they see the way you dress, it's not going to affect them? Do you think that if they see a paraphernalia of Lara Croft behind you showing her legs, like, it's not going to affect them? Like, literally in her video, she's complaining. No, like just so you understand where the hypocritical accusation comes from, right? Like, literally in her video, she's complaining about the fact that The Last Descendant has women showing skin, and behind her, in the same fucking photo, is this massive Lara Croft which has her legs uncovered. Like, come the fuck on, man. Like, maybe you don't see it that way, but obviously a lot of people do. A lot of slot machines were banned in convenience stores because they were aimed at children. man, I gotta say, like, slot machines aren't that fucking bad. When I grew up, there was this thing called the arcades. And all those arcade games were so fucking predatory. Like, they would get harder and harder the more you played them, so that you die and you insert more coins. You know, like, people complain about DLC, but back then you had to insert a quarter to play one life. And if you died, you had to insert another quarter. You need to adjust that quarter for inflation, and you realize it was probably like $5 or some shit. Like, you would end up spending a lot of money just putting quarters in the machine. And the games were brutally hard. Just designed for you to constantly die. V, the solution to your argument is religion is an evolved behavior. And it's increasing in the population. Amish have the most kids. So on an evolutionary time scale, both you and me don't matter. Oh my god, I'm not going to go into the whole... what's it called? The demographics shit. But usually the more prosperous a person is, the less kids they have. Let's put it this way, right? So like prosperity makes less kids. Kingdom of Fighter ate many of my allowance. That's true. The funny part is, like, there were some of those arcades games that eventually got copied on other emulators, right? Like, they got copied on MAME, I think was, like, at the time, but, like, also the Nintendo. And you realize that the version that you would play, like, if you play Mortal Kombat on a Sega Saturn, it was actually toned down in difficulty than the arcade. I don't think that's true. What isn't true? The fact that rich people want to have less kids. You'd realize I'm surrounded by rich people. Like, okay, I can tell you, like, one of the reasons people have less kids. All right, let's look at the medieval society, an Amish society, right? Medieval society compared to modern society. Medieval society, you have no welfare. Absolutely none. Right? Like, the moment you're alone on Earth, if you have, like, no other relatives, and you can't work, the only way you can survive is if you have charity. Like, you go on the streets and you beg. That's it. There's no help from the government. There's no help from the state. Zero welfare. And so, what do you do when you get old? And the answer was, you're going to have your kids taking care of you. And so you have a farm, and your entire work is dedicated on your farm, on your land. You got to feed the animals. You got to take the cows out to eat grass from the pasture. You got to do all the farm work. You got to go on the field. You got to plow. You got to carry everything on the field. You got to carry it in the house. Like, a lot of work, right? And so what you do is you have a lot of kids. You have like 6, 7 kids. The way it works is that you don't even have time to raise them. You may be raising 1 or 2, and then they're going to raise their other brothers. Like, most of these kids, they raise, like, the 2 old brothers, their duty is to raise the younger brothers. And everyone starts working when they're 7. Like, the moment the kid is 6, 7, like, he already starts helping the mother with the chores. He's mopping the room. He's helping his brothers. He's going out there feeding the chickens. They grow older. They start going with you on the field. They're repairing the tractor, right? And the age of consent in that society, in a medieval society, if you look at Wikipedia, the age of consent for Americans, I think it was like 12 or 13. Like, the idea is when you're 12 or 13, you're already having an arranged marriage. Like, your parents are already knowing another family that has land, that has fields, and they're going to marry you off. And you're going to start having kids the moment you finish puberty, right? And that was a medieval society. Like, that's how people used to do it back then. And they still do it now in the Middle East, and they still do it now in parts of India, and they still do it now in some places. I personally don't like that society. But, like, historically, it exists. Like, that's how it worked. Let's talk about the modern society, right? Like, let's say you're born now in a family that your parents are lawyers, right? And you're the only child. They don't have other kids, they only have you. Well, you're going to be told that you need to go to school, you need to study hard, right? Like, you're going to be allowed to have all sorts of entertainment. Like, you're going to have a TV, and you're going to watch the news, and you're going to socialize and go clubbing and shit. And then finally, you're going to finish school, right? Now you're 18. Can you get a job? No, you gotta go to a university. So, like, you can't even get a job at 18. You gotta go to a university, and you go to a university, and that's like another 5 years of your life. And maybe then you want to get a major, you want to get a PhD, you want to get something. Now you're fucking 30. Are you going to have kids when you're at the university? No, because you're like, well, I need to go to classes, I need to have exams, I can't have kids. Even if the wife, like, even if you have a traditional wife and she takes care of the kids, when you get home, the kid is crying, the kid is needing stuff, like, the wife is not going to allow you to just study. You're just going to say, well, aren't you going to help me up around the house? Like, I can't lift this shit, it's too heavy. The pipe broke, you need to fix it. And so, like, you're in your 30s, and now you're talking about getting married. And you're getting married in your 30s. You don't have the same energy like when you're young. You don't have the energy to have like 4 or 5 kids. Now, obviously, like, some people do it, you know? Not all the people are going to be like this. Like, some people are going to have 3, 4 kids. But on average, looking at the friends that I had who finished med school, who finished law school, they have 1 kid, maximum. Sometimes 2, but that's even extreme. And also, you know, the levels of autism and genetic illnesses, that's what happens when you have kids and you're too old. Like, the older the guy is, if you're 30 when you have kids, and the age of the mother matters as well. Like, if you have kids when you're 30, when you're 35, if you're 40, oh, that's already like Down syndrome level. And this is like based on society, based on how society is organized, because everyone has to go to university. Everyone has to finish high school before getting a job. And when you get a job, you can't really, because like all of the work is taken away, and then you got to go through a university in order to get an actual job. And so it's not really like, this is why, you know, prosperity means less kids. Because in a medieval family, like, this is just not affordable. You can't afford, you know, like, someone just wasting so much time of their life going through a university, a high school. It's like, no, there's work to be done. The farm requires hands. Bro, I'm not Down syndrome. Take into account that if you have a kid when you're 30, like, this is something else that I see a lot of netizens failing to understand. If you have a kid when you're 30, it doesn't guarantee that it will have Down syndrome. It just means that there's an increased risk. It's not by much. It's probably like 5% or 6% or whatever. But that 5% adds up when you talk about millions of people. Same with autism, right? It's like, when you have a kid and you're older, the risk of autism just increases. And that doesn't mean that your kid will have autism, but what it does mean is that if it's a 5% increase, and you have like 360 million citizens, and they're all having kids, well, that 5% is going to add up. I think it's time that the cycle of needing to go to school needs to break. Oh, I think like the only solution is like if we ever get through like a natural disaster, either like a plague, like the Black Death that kills like half the population, or you have like a war, and then you have like people rebuilding society, and then like people actually looking at the way the school system works and trying to genuinely improve it. I think like that would be the only solution. I do agree that the school system is like one of the worst experiences of my life. I absolutely detest it. I love the university system. Like, the university is great, but the school system where you go there and you have to do all sorts of shit that you don't want to do, and it's never going to help you in life. Like, I learned trigonometry. Why the fuck did I learn trigonometry? Why do I still know the Krebs cycle? What use do I have for the Krebs cycle? But I know it. from acetyl A coenzyme mixed with isodehydrogenatic citrate. I hope I pronounced it good in English. And it produces 2 ATP. And then you add up water and you get, am I close? Why do I know this shit? Why the fuck do I know this? Why is my brain filled with such nonsense? Why do I know the amino acids? All of them. Even today. Why? What good is it? Like, when will I ever use? Never. But I know them. High school is the worst I ever did. Yeah, I know. It develops by special awareness. Can I do that with video games? I mean, when you play video games, isn't that what you're doing? Like, you're solving puzzles and you're developing special awareness and you're socializing. Why do I need to do trigonometry? Is it because it's awful? Oh, I'm using the knowledge right now. See, I'm pretty sure if I had the time machine and I would go back to the me of the past and I would tell myself, look, one day you'll make a YouTube video and there's going to be like a point that you want to make. And all this suffering that you're having, like learning all these volumes of trigonometry and the Krebs cycle, that's when you're going to use it. And you're probably going to use it in a bad way. People are going to clip you and they're going to say that, no, it's not 3 ATPV, it's 2. You dumb fuck, you don't know anything. Shit. You can do video games, but you can only play on the hardest level. And there will be a test. See, I always played video games on the hardest level. I actually like to challenge myself. I never used cheat codes in video games. Trigonometry does have use if you're building or designing stuff. Yeah, but what if I'm not? Like, let me put it this way. What is the percentage of people that are going to build or design stuff from a classroom of 40 kids? Like, let's be honest, it's probably less than 1, right? So like, everyone gets tortured just for that 1%. I hope you're going to be good builders, because if not, I'm coming for your ass. You tortured my childhood, forcing me to learn trigonometry. And now you're not even a good builder. Fuck you. Is Metaker streaming? Should I raid Metaker? I think I'll raid Metaker. Do you know that Ethan Ralph and Metaker probably made up? At least from Ralph's side. Like, Ethan Ralph released the most Christian video that I have ever seen in my life. You know, like, Ethan Ralph at this point, I'm sorry to say this, but he's more Christian than Melody Mac. Ethan Ralph made a video. I think, like, he's trying to go to a facility to stop drinking. I may be wrong, okay? Like, but the video is basically him taking a hiatus. And during the hiatus, he basically states that he thanks everyone that made his show great. And he talks nice things about literally anyone, like all his rogue gallery, all the people that he shit talked, all the people that he disliked. He talks nice things about them. I don't know if he's legit or not. Like, he's obviously reading from a script, but it is still the most Christian stuff that I have ever seen on the platform. On Twitter, at least. I'm pretty sure there's Christian stuff more than what he did. But I haven't seen it, right? Like, he's basically saying that he's trying to improve his life. And every single person that he argued with, every single person that he had beef with, he had only nice things to say. Even the people that he was very confrontational and vindictive with. And I'm like, you know what? That generally is the Christian way. Like, no, seriously. Like, okay, so he found Christianity and he's trying to get his life around, and it's like a personal journey. Like, I can't say anything negative about that. Like, there's nothing negative you can say. Yeah, well, obviously, like, I can't be in his head. I don't know if he means it or not, but if he genuinely means it, then yeah. Let's see. When is Metokur stream? Metokur stream. Does he not give a link? What the fuck? Did he do the thing where you have to go into the comment section to find it? Someone give me his fucking stream. What is wrong with him? Is he doing this since yesterday? Why is he not providing a link to his own channel? Someone give me a fucking link. Do it on Discord. Don't do it on fucking Twitter. Who reads Twitter? No one fucking reads Twitter. Give it to me on Discord. In DMs. You know what? Fuck it. We're not going to raid him. If you guys aren't cooperating, we're not going to raid him. We're going to raid Arch instead. Don't fucking tell me that Arch isn't subscribed to me, because if he's not subscribed to me, I can't raid him either. God, like the YouTube platform for raiding is so fucking convoluted. On Twitter, sorry, on Twitch, it's like literally a button there, like you click raid and there you go. Here, on the other hand, you gotta go into YouTube Studio. You gotta click on several things. And even then... Ah, here we go. Edit video. I think this is the one. Okay, I clicked edit video. And now I need to find the redirect button. And I also have to keep the stream entertained while I'm trying to find the redirect button. It's almost like they don't want people to use this. It's almost like they want it to happen. Right? Like they wanna brag about having the feature. I will figure it out, chat. I'm not stopping until I do. Live reactions, message, redirect. Okay, I found it finally. Jesus fucking Christ. I got the Arshcast to redirect. I got Chika Fujilisa. She's upcoming. A lot of upcoming stuff. EFAP and the Arshcast. You know what? We're going to go to the Arshcast. There we go. The Arshcast special, Madam Savvy, the Whore Wars. The Whore Wars. TikTok ban is here, and 2025 gaming. Oh, that sounds really good. Did it work? Or do I need to stop the stream? I think I need to stop the stream for it to work, right? So, anyway. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.